shall supply not some, but all the Lord.
Well, good evening, my Jubilee family and friends. We want to tell you welcome to tonight's broadcast. Tonight we're taking a different perspective, a different turn, as you hear from some of the people who have been impacted by this ministry over the last 23 years. This coming Sunday, we'll be celebrating our 23rd church anniversary. So I'm telling you, it's going to be a wonderful time in the presence of the Lord, so I encourage you to come out as we celebrate the goodness of God and all He has done for us right here at Jubilee Cathedral. So I'm excited about it. So stay tuned. Let's go into this broadcast. It's going to be amazing as we hear some of the testimonials from persons who have been impacted by the ministry.
Hi there, I am Kamal Roberts and I am the band director for Jubilee Cathedral and I'm 27 years old. My passion is, well, music. Of course, everybody knows me for what I do, and that's playing the keyboard. And my passion is, one, to release the right sound that God has basically birthed in my lines, and basically whatever He tells me or whatever He lets me feel, that is according and is the sound for His will. And so that's my passion, to play the sound that He wants to hear and being on tone and on one accord with Him. Well, I have been doing this from the age of 3 years old, and I have also been with Jubilee Cathedral for 12 years, doing the same thing that I love to do. Woo! I have stuck along with Jubilee because I've learned a lot from Jubilee when it comes to patience, waiting on God, knowing the right timing, waiting on His timing, and also knowing what it is to be patient with things that you might want to be right away, but also having patience to know that God's timing is the best timing. Well, for me, the minute I graduated from high school, Pastor Quest called and the church decided to hire me as a producer at the church. I at first was scared and very nervous about it because I never saw myself as this producer. And so for me, it was a new thing. It was a new door opening for me. And when I stepped into that door, from there, things have grown and I've learned. And today I could say that I have really been grateful that I took that door and I have learned, and really take it a privilege to say that I am grateful that I did it. The source of encouragement for me at Jubilee Cathedral was the giving part of it. Jubilee Cathedral did the best that they can to give as much and help the community as much as they can. Even with the little that was going on or things that may be faced against ministry, we still went and do our best to look out for our people. And I have been a part of most of those things, and so I'm really grateful to that our leader have a good vision and that our leader have a heart to give. And so it trickles down to the congregation. So we all now know how to give and to be, loving and accepting to people who come in need, and we give them what we can. Woo! For me, things that people will say is, oh wow, y'all did this right at the right moment, at the right time. Boy, y'all didn't know what I had to deal with yesterday and today. All of a sudden, y'all just, come and give us and give out things to the community. And some people really were grateful because you never know what people go through in life. And so at the same time, that's why God would give the vision to our bishop to do this thing, do the particular give out or giveaway, and at the same time, it's be the right timing for those people to receive help and to receive care for children who are in need, parents who are in need, and loved ones who just don't have it. And so at the end of the day, we be that source of strength for them.
What was an encouraging word at the ministry maybe that Bishop may have preached before that has helped to strengthen and push you in your walk with God?
Bishop has preached a lot of sermons that I have basically been there for, and for me, there was one that he was saying, you may be delayed but not denied. I remember when he said that, and for me it was really, at that time, I didn't face it, but then later on, as months go by, it'd be like, this is what Bishop was talking about the other Sunday ago. So as time go by, it would show up and it would prove itself that it was the word of God. So for me, I was like, whew, okay, even things what he preached about months later still come to pass months after that. And so at the end of the day, even certain words that he preached, you still keep it refreshed in your mind, because you never know the time or know the day that you need that word to be a substance or sustain you in your life months later.
Talk a little bit about the importance as a minstrel with getting your heart right with God before you even minister or before you have to play, or what is that like, your preparation time?
Ooh, my preparation time. The favorite thing for me is music. I mean, every time I go to church, I listen to music. Every morning I wake up, I listen to music, and I listen to music that would actually get my heart in tune with God. I pray in the mornings before I even come to church, and at the end of the day, for me, get my heart right in tune with God is really important, because for me, when God really speaks through me through music or speaks to me in that atmosphere of worship that might be going on in church or however he moves in church, for me it's really important, because he needs that connection with me so I can play the right sound that he requires of me. So if there's no connection, there's no sound. That's just simple as that for me. Wow, seeing my life develop at the ministry of Jubilee Cathedral. For me, I must say, when I first went there, it all was in glimmer and glam. For me, I learned that my faith have grown way tremendously big when I've been at the Jubilee Cathedral. For me, when I've been there, the most important thing for me was that you might face situations, and at the end of the day, when you face things, don't never let your faith dwindle because of situations or people. But at the end of the day, you have to be strong in the Lord. You have to study that word for yourself. You have to keep the word within your heart to know that you are strong enough to overcome anything that may come in your way. For me, Jubilee has been a source of strength through, like I said before, giving and other things, as in being strong in the Lord, encouraging words from people at the congregation. People tell me that, playing there has blessed them so much. And so at the end of the day, I've really been grateful that God has really truly afforded me to be at Jubilee Cathedral. And so for me, it's been a blessing, and I've also learned a lot from Jubilee. Where do I see Jubilee Cathedral going? For me, I do see Jubilee going really big. I really see Jubilee doing way more giveaways, way more bigger, huge giveaways. I still see the church really kind of have to expand more. For me, I feel Jubilee Cathedral is a giving church. So for me, the giving part is the most strongest part for me, because we don't look at how big our congregation is. We don't look at if we have the best this, the best that. We more focus on people. We are more focused on the hearts of people, the times that people have to go through, things that we might not face, but people face. And so we take those things into consideration, and we still go out and still say, you know what, let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, we might see some people who don't need it, but at the end of the day, someone out there needs it. So I see that our giving ministry and our giving ministry, and that the encounters that we have with people, and that things that we have, giveaways will be much bigger, and that it will grow larger more than ever before. My encouragement words to Jubilee Cathedral. First of all, people who go at Jubilee, everybody knows that Jubilee is a big ministry. It's a big, huge ministry. And so at the end of the day, I must say that your bishop, he does care for you. He loves you. And at the end of the day, you know, God will do the best thing that needs to be done when you keep your bishop in prayer, when you keep your bishop covered. And so when he blesses your bishop, he blesses you, which we all basically could say we have experienced that in our lives. For me, for those who don't go at Jubilee Cathedral, or who just finding out about our church, come. Come and be welcome. You know, we come with loving arms. We welcome you. You are not a stranger to us. And so at the end of the day, we love all. We love all who come in. Don't be afraid to come and be welcome, and, you know, share your gifts with us, share your talents with us. Whatever you could do, we are welcoming you to come and be a part of us.
Hello everybody, my name is Takisa Douglas, and I've been going to Jubilee all my life, for 38 years to be exact. I was christened there, I christened my daughter there, everything. So Jubilee has been a part of my life all of my life.
I am Leontine Wells. Everybody know me as Tina. I have been a part of St. John's / Jubilee all of my life as well. I'm not sure if I was christened there, but I know I was there from a baby. And like he said, christened my son there, and was very involved, so all my life.
Well, I started out, I can remember as far back as being in children's church with Sister Reese. Of course, the cookies and the little biscuit cookies,
Yes.
back in the day, and then of course our Christmas programs. And when we finished singing, we used to walk through the side door with the little brown paper bag, and it had an apple, an orange, and candies in it. So that's my first memory of being active in Jubilee, well, St. John's.
Being active, we go back as the children's choir. Everyone was a part of the children's choir.
Sister Butler,
Yes, Sister Butler, and you know,
American.
we had Sunday school, and way back when Miss Brown was the little babies, and remember getting in trouble, and our punishment was going in Sister Lockhart class. Sister Shay used to punish us. If we left our Sunday school books at home, the punishment for being irresponsible was in the kiddies class with Sister Lockhart.
Okay, the teenage years at Jubilee, well, at St. John's, I should say, was Mama Shay, Miranda, Lisa. Those were our big sister Sophie Roll, Lavinia Hill. We had them as big sisters in our lives. Mama Shay taught me how to cook white rice. We had sleepovers, lock-ins,
Retreats,
Missile
base.
base retreat. That's what it was back then. It was more. We had Abaco trips. We went
Eleuthera,
to
Atlanta,
Fort Lauderdale to.
Mhm.
I don't remember the name.
Alice Church.
Yeah,
Pastor
rest in
Ellis.
peace.
Yeah.
Eastman Curtis.
Yeah, Eastman Curtis.
Eastman
Doing the electric
Curtis.
slides.
That was. a
Oh
good
my
trip.
God, we had fun.
Yeah.
And then Abaco trips.
Sister Cox was
Sister
Abaco.
And then when we visited our cousin Lawrence Anicher.
And then Camp Abaco was fun.
Yeah,
only
Camp
got
Abaco.
only Pastor Ball wife was rude. Okay. When we visit Camp Abaco, first of all, it take us 2 hours to get
Yes.
to drive through bushes just to get to the
Oh my
camp.
God.
So we was already in this big school bus, afraid of where this white woman carrying us, this white man with a bunch of black children in a bus. So when we finally reached on the ground, it was nice until we got in the rooms. Because of course they separated the girls from the boys. And then we slept on these bed. The bed was put this big. Then the water used to cut off at a certain time, and it used to be cold. It was, we had fun, mind you, but it was a little traumatic. Sister Cox scariest to that one. But the other Abaco trip we went to, we were more teenagers. That's when we stayed in Marsh Harbor to the hotel. We had a good time. That's when we rode the bikes. That's when Sister Bevan's Sister Bevan's gone buy all kind of turtle meat. The people get the turtle on the shore. And Sister Bevan's bought the turtle, and then she hike ride with us. She even didn't pay to come with us. She hike ride with us. And then we stalled in the middle of the water. And Mama Shay told her, if this boat sink, that turtle going over first. We love you, Mama Shay. But growing up in Jubilee, I must say, it was awesome. I was a part of the media ministry. I was a part of the usher board. We were junior ushers when we first started. I mean, we was junior ushers straight through. People came after us and they was promoted over us. But we were junior ushers. We were part of the praise. We had a youth praise team. We, of course, the youth choir, Sunday school experience, everything. We were very much involved in the ministry, and we loved every part of it.
It was our social life.
Yes.
We was in church basically every day of the week. We had something to do. From Sunday to singing in the choir. I think Monday we had all off.
No, Monday was prayer meeting.
Monday was prayer meeting.
Tuesday was some kind of auxiliary meeting.
At a point, we used to have youths on Tuesday. Remember when they was trying on something? We had youths on during Tuesday, but then went back to Friday.
Usher board meeting
Thursday was praise team practice.
Yes. Wednesday was midweek service.
Friday youths.
Saturday practice. Sunday 3 services.
Yes.
And we used to be all 3.
Yes.
11 and 6. But we enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was like that's our social. We were friends.
Yes.
We're more than friends. We're like a family.
Yeah.
So it was good for us. Like he said, I was involved as well. I was involved in the praise team. I was involved in Girls Brigade, color guard, all of that. I was a flaggerette in the band. Like I said, praise team, choir, dance. We did everything. We were a group of talented individuals. So growing up since St. John's was the bomb. It was a life. It's different. It's kind of different now, but going back to memory, we have all of the good memories that we can cherish, that we can sit back, talk about, we can laugh about it.
I, for some reason, always remembered the sermon that Bishop did on, he was doing a teaching on like the figurine stuff that you have in your house, like the little, and for some reason that always stuck with me, that I be careful on what you allow to come in your home, like the elephants and you know. And I remember having the burning of the things outside, like that. For some reason, that always stuck with me, stayed with me. Just being a part. I mean, all of his messages in some way affect your life, but for some reason, that one just always stuck with me. And I was a teenager when he spoke on that. If I could, I was a teenager when he spoke on that.
And you know one thing he always say, one of his favorite saying, your present position is not an indication of your future potential in God. And you know, it resonates with you. Know that you are somebody, regardless of where you start, it's just what you went. Just remain focused on whatever you have to do in life. I know that not because I'm here now, but in the future, I know that my present position is not this indication that I am going somewhere, I will be something. And you know, just basically all of his sermons, it touches you in a way, and it goes along with you. It might not affect you today, but later on back in life, you can sit back and reflect and be like, I remember when Bishop said this, and and he loved to sing, and remember all those. It started off with he's supposed to be preaching, but the message can't come through because he have to sing, that burning desire to sing. Sometimes singing and worshiping God does something to you. So, things comes out in your worship. So there's a lot of things that I can sit back and reflect back on, and know that just growing up in the church is a purpose.
And one thing that I must say is he allowed us to be ourselves.
Yes.
I remember being the youths having the whole month of October just for Youth Month, and he allowed the youths to take over in every which way. It wasn't, you had some older folks who was like, what y'all doing bringing in the church, but he allowed us to be ourselves, and that's why I think youths felt so much like family, and like, even though we might have people looking at us be like, oh, y'all is church all the time, but it didn't feel that way because we were allowed to enjoy ourselves. We was allowed to praise God in our own way, and he enjoyed it too because he used to get right down with us.
Yes.
So I must say that is something that I appreciate, and pray that we could bring back, even for my daughter being a young kid and going into her teenage years later on, but to have that, because that's something that kept us.
Yes,
actually it kept us out of trouble, it kept us focused. I must say that was something that it will always be a part, and you miss those days, and sometimes you wish you could get those days back.
Yes.
But they are definitely a part of our lives, and
cherish the memories.
yeah, and I'm very grateful for that.
And don't forget the disciplinarian.
Oh yeah, yes, he did discipline us too,
Yes.
because he make us stand up in our robes.
I apologize.
On a big Sunday morning, we had to get up and say, Bishop, we sorry, but we had the whole month of October, and I think one Wednesday night we was tired, and we decided to duck out. But that didn't sit well with our very good bishop.
Then we had a month off.
Yes.
And then you remember when we came back, the song we sang, it was like a funeral song, but we put a beat to it. You remember that song? What it is again? It's a funeral song. When Peace Like a River. And we sang that, and Bishop made us sing that song twice. And then he said after that, I think I need to give y'all another month off. That's how well we sound, and everything was on point, the memories. In my opinion,
Much different.
it's much different. And growing up from Call Road to come to the cathedral, it's different. Call Road, it felt like a family. Up here, it feel kind of distant. Yes, you still have some people still there, like Sister Shay, Sister Linda Turnquest, Sister Irma, who was involved in upbringing us, and I know you will be proud of what we have become, young ladies, but I don't think the tightness is there.
But you can't blame them, because we supposed to take the baton on and we didn't.
No, we didn't.
So
We
I
got
must
our own
say
way.
that we kind of you
Straight.
can't blame it all on
kind of
us.
strayed a bit.
Yes, we did.
But slowly but surely we
Yeah,
come
trying to
back.
come back, because we would like to see
Yes.
what happened with us happen with the generation there now. Sometimes it's difficult to reach the generation now, because I don't know what they on, but we would like to see them be energized the way we were, because it was awesome. And I would like to see, and hopefully this is where we would be going in the future, where we have the young adults, the teenagers, and the younger kids experience the fun and learning about the Bible in a way that you even didn't realize it's sticking with
Yes.
you. You know, so it's like, so I guess we have to be the Mama Shays and Sophie and Miranda. And
Yes.
I guess we have to take on those roles now. So we working on it.
We get there.
Well, again, good evening, everybody. My name is Deacon Christopher Rule.
And I'm Kamaria Roll.
This is CJ, and this is Kristen. And like I said, I know when the next one can come, but to God be the glory. Well, I like to start off with how I get involved in the ministry was in 1997 on Coral Road. You know, one thing they was asking, you know, we need people to be involved. And many persons might not know that the first ministry I was basically in was usher in training. But that didn't last for long because we was getting ready to transition at that time to the new church, which is now Jubilee Cathedral. And from there, I was basically in two ministry called Protocol, which was the brand newest ministry in the church, and the parking lot attendant. And ever since, you know, I was serving from then. So you could say for 20 plus years, you know. I found myself not only working as a protocol officer, not only working as a parking lot officer, but then I was then called to be an armor bearer to Bishop Williams. And juggling with that, also heavily involved with the youth ministry. And I just was saying, I just was going to get involved in everything, you know. I always tell people I believe I was the longest candidate in waiting just to get baptized, because it took almost a year for me to get baptized. But I thank God for persons like a Sister Moss and a Sister Bevans, who really, like I said, invested, you know, their time, their counsel, and basically, you know, their chastisement in love to basically to be the person who I am today. And so they are some of the persons that I'll never forget, you know. But Jubilee Cathedral has been awesome. It's a place that I said that I could call home, you know, because after I got saved, you know, I got saved home in my house and looking for a church. Happened to get up on Coral Road and was just addicted to the word and basically the fellowship of so many people. So that's in a nutshell just for me. So I'll let Kamaria share how she get to Jubilee Cathedral.
Well, for me, I moved here in 2003, and when I came, it was supposed to be just for 4 months. And during that time, I was seeking God as to where to go. And I ended up too at Jubilee Cathedral. I had some family that go there, and the main reason I went there is because I felt like the Lord had called me to be a covering for Bishop Williams. And so I went in 2003, and then I became a member, and I just went as in the choir. I went to choir, the praise team, and it was awesome. And every time you went, it was a word of encouragement from the bishop. It was always a fresh word, a now word. It was always something to keep you going. And so I bless God for directing me and leading me to Jubilee Cathedral. And I thank God for Bishop Williams. Because of him, I'm still standing today because of the word, the now word that came forth every time we went. And so I just bless God for Jubilee Cathedral and for the family of Jubilee Cathedral. And so that's how I got at Jubilee Cathedral from St. Salvador in 2003, and then ended up at Jubilee Cathedral at this present time.
And even up to last night, I was talking to, you know, one of the brothers in the church, and I say that if you're gonna change a generation, especially being mentorship, one of the greatest quality that you have to give is time. You know, and if you don't have time to invest in people, don't seek to be a mentor. You know, because I said that Paul said that, hey, we have a lot of instructors, but not enough fathers. And I'm always encouraging other person, man, get involved with the youths. But sometimes you hear they don't have the time. All right. And in ministry, we always saying these the next generation, of leaders. And I always encourage our young people, you can't look at yourself as the next in line. You got to see yourself as a leader now. God ain't looking for, he looking for availability. He ain't care how old you is, And so youth ministry over the years, I sometimes I sit back and, to be honest, Pastor LaQuez, I remember telling him I feel like I failed, because I believe that the amount of young people that pass through the youth ministry from Call Road to now could actually full Jubilee Cathedral Church. That's plenty young people. And sometimes I just, cry. And someone encouraged me to say, Christy, it ain't you, but people gonna do what they want to. And it's up to them. If they're not hungry for something, like it's only certain far you could take people, and at times I say, we just gotta recognize that some people just come in our life for a season, and if they wanna really go forward with God, they have to have that hunger and thirst for themselves. But I see the youth ministry as the last line to if they're gonna stay or they're gonna go. You see, and we try to say, God, how can we do it? How can we get to them? We could have as much social as we want to, but at the end of the day, yeah, that's bread you eating. But you need spiritual food at the end of the day, And I believe as a young person, that if you could get serious with God now, you don't have to go through plenty foolishness that we as older person have to, and still dealing with, If I tell you that, look, value your virginity. Give that in a marriage. Why you won't go all over the place with someone touching you or whatever like that, But I say, man, I see it as a joy being in the youth ministry, and even now with the leaders we have, we basically say, look here, I said, y'all in charge of everything. I don't want to know nothing. Don't call Sister Becky. Don't call Casey. Don't call RJ. Y'all in charge. The only thing we here to do is to monitor. You see? Because at the end of the day, I say, buddy, I 47. You see these two here? I start off late. And so, I say, man, I'm doing this because at the end of the day, y'all have to lead them. That's just my 5 cents.
Well, for me, one of them was the topic, God has not forgotten about you. Because, even now, with everything that's going on, you really feel sometimes like, God, where are you? Have you forgotten about me? And then sometimes you have to just encourage yourself, and that's what I did with that sermon. Encourage myself that God has not forgotten, no matter what happened, no matter what you went through. Things didn't work out the way you planned. Things didn't work out the way you expected to work out. You just have to believe and know that God has not forgotten about you. And even with your series now, Make It Make Sense, as because sometimes it's be like, oh God, this really don't make sense to me right now. God, I can't understand this right now. What's going on with this? Make this thing make sense to me, God. And sometimes it may not make sense right at that moment in time, but as time goes on, it will begin to make sense, and you'll see God in it. And so, even though it don't make sense now, we have to still trust God and know that He has not, like Bishop said, He has not forgotten about us. We're still on His mind. He still has a purpose. He still has a plan for us. And we will come out on top, and we will not be defeated. We will not be moved. We will stand firm because we know and we trust in His word that He has not forgotten about us. So for me, that's one of the main ones. God has not forgotten about you.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that come to my mind was when Bishop deal with the series in between, because I remember one time I was going through a lot, and I asked, I say, Dad, why purpose hurt so much? And he said, Christine, the purpose is just the process. No, it's the process, because sometimes to get to your purpose, people don't want to go through the process, and that process means I got to squeeze you. And that's where a lot of us, I guess, faint in the squeezing part, not understanding that if God gonna get the best out of you, there's a process. You know, on say on the way from Egypt to the promised land, there was a process. You know, where God say, look here, I brought you through this wilderness to prove you didn't know what's in your heart, to see if you will keep my commandment or not. Not that I don't know what's in your heart already. And sometime in the process can prove that some things you're asking for, you're asking ignorance, you know. And so I say that when he said it was the process, that was just it was, you know, I say, but God, but it hurt, you know, it hurt. But that in between, but if you could get that from the in between, from where you start to where you going, it's gonna be all right. And many of us are, I believe, you know, we find ourselves in that process now. We find ourselves in the process and wondering, my God, when this going all over, you know. But God said, you know the way you take, you know the way we take. And I just want to encourage people now, you know, you're going through that process. Don't forget that at the end, there's a reward. You know, I'm always encouraged with, you know, we say don't cast away your confidence, which has such great recompense. But you have need of patience, the process, that after you've done the will of God, you will receive the promise. People want promise, but don't want to go through the process.
Yeah, for me, it's let's continue to stand and be encouraged. God has brought us this far through all those years. And he is not changed. He will never change. He will never fail us. He will never forsake us. And so whatever comes during the years ahead, as a body, as a family, let us continue to stand as Jubilites and celebrate and praise God, because we know that he is with us always, even until the end. And so be encouraged, everybody, and let's just continue to love on God and serve him.
Well, I like to also say, you know, thank God for, you know, Bishop, Mother Will, you know, the leadership in yourself, because you're doing an excellent job. And I know you sometimes might not feel, you know, that most people don't appreciate you, like, but I always tell Bishop, there's more with you than against you. But I want to thank God for my Jubilee family, you know, because like I say, sometimes you go through some rough times, you know, even that season, you know, when I felt that I never felt so much love and support, you know, that actually, because a lot of persons could have exposed, but they choose to cover. And they don't know how much I appreciate that. And some still check upon us, you know, and I mean, God has been a tremendous blessing, because even when I wanted to go back home now, so because I say, God, I don't have to take this foolishness. I rather be with my family and so to be where I get doing too. But I remember Bishop telling me, say, Chris, God told him, if you go back home now, so everything that he had for me, I would have forfeited. And one of the things that I would have forfeited was this, you know, and I thank God that, you know, even with our great loss, you know, with a miscarriage, that he still chooses to bless us. And I say, buddy, look, you don't ever count God out. And I remember something that Mother Will said even Sunday, that when you're in the hands of God, you are well kept. You know, we gotta believe that when we're in the hands of God, you're well kept. You know, and so I want to encourage you, my Jubilee family, man, be strong in the Lord. Be steadfast, always unmovable. And he said, always abounding in the works of the Lord. In other words, keep busy serving. You know, this ain't no time to sit down. You know, the time that we in, the Bible say you gotta walk circumspectly as wise, redeeming the time, because the time that we in. So I speak strength over you, I speak life over you, I speak prosperity and health over you, but most of all, be prepared, because any day now, God bless.
Hi, my name is Deacon Casey Ewing. I've been going Jubilee now for 13 years. My experience, I could say it probably was different from most other kids growing up in Jubilee. I came from basically the streets, running around on the streets to in the church. Coming in, I really didn't know really nothing about all the I didn't know nothing about the church. I didn't know nothing about what you do. I just was basically, I came in just watching and just questioning everything, like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? I didn't really had no understanding of what was really going on. And I was basically intimidated because I was like, these people, like, they wild, like they, you know what I mean? They have a passion for God. So I was really, intimidated, but I still wanted to grow. I still wanted to learn. I still had a hunger to know about this God who everyone was talking about. How I grew from my Christian walk, I learned a lot from Bishop. I watched him and I observed him, and and he always used to say, well, God speak to me. You know what I mean? God said this, God said that. And I was like, God say what? Like I was trying to understand like where he was coming from. So it gave me the passion to say, well, I want to experience this for myself. You know, everything what he's talking about, I was like, I want to experience this for myself. I don't want to just hear this. I want to experience it. So it caused me to go home and just focus on God, like from wake home, or wake church, home, or everything was basically centered around those three. And even when I was home, I just had a drive just to know so much about God and the experience that I wasn't focused on friends. I wasn't focused on what was going on around me. I was so focused on just going after God, to the point where when I really catch myself and see how far I was like, even if I want to go back, I can't go back now. You know, because I was so far and so deep into it, it was like, ain't nothing for me to go back to. Getting involved in ministry, I always wanted, first of all, I could say that I just was coming into the ministry, so I didn't know my purpose. I was basically, I was lost, came into the church, so I didn't know my purpose. I didn't have no identity. So everything I was learning gradually as I go and as I continue to walk in the faith, I just had a passion I always had a passion. I always had a passion for people. I always had a heart and a compassion. I always liked to serve people. I always had a passion for people, but I just didn't know. When I was in the world, I basically generated in a negative way. I used it for the wrong reason rather than the right reason. So when I came into the church, the first thing I discovered my identity. And I think that when I discovered my identity, everything started to open up for me. Everything started to open up for me. How I started with the youths, it was the Deacon Chris. He asked me to he invite me to youth. And I was like, okay, I'll come and check it out. So he invited me to youth, and I came to youth one night, and I just saw how he was basically doing everything. He was talking, he was driving the bus, he was basically he was basically running the whole thing by himself. And I was like, this ain't right. Like, I said, this ain't right. So I was like, I told him, I said, man, I could help you with something. I could take the bus off you. I could help you to drive, and basically that's how I started to drive the bus, because I was like, I just wanted to take as much pressure that I could off him, because I always, like I said, I always had a serving heart. And when you have a serving heart, you could serve in any capacity. And I'm not a person who will pick and choose or refuse. If they tell me to do this, I'll do that. If they tell me to take out the garbage, I'll take out the garbage. Clean the bathroom, I'll clean the bathroom. Whatever it is I could help, then that's what I will do. That's just a passion I have. One of the things that I always hold on to, what I got would encourage me. Like I said, I just came into the church, so I didn't really know much, but it was to a point where I started to grow and I started to develop, but I think I was at a point where I was probably a little stagnant, whereas I wasn't really growing. I wasn't backing forward. Like, it was like, I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves that when we fall or we feel like we disappoint God, it could really cause us to be stagnant, And one of the things what Bishop spoke, Bishop always would say, he's like, I am the bishop, and me too, I still have struggles. You know what I mean? And he said, me too, I am the bishop and I still have struggles. And I was to a point where I needed some type of encouragement. I was to a point at that time where I needed some type of encouragement. I needed something to help me, just to push me forward. And when Bishop said he too struggled, because you don't hear that a lot. You don't hear that from men of God. You don't hear that from pastors. You don't hear that. But when he said him too, like, he too have struggles. He struggles. Like, I was like, what? You struggle? It made me felt much easier to say, you know what? If he struggled and he could continue to do what he doing, then I could continue to push forward. So that I think that was a point in my life where I could have turned back. Or I could have continued going forward. And that helped me to continue go forward. The value of helping people, wow. That's the value of helping people. I don't think nothing in the world could compare to it. I don't know nothing more. I don't know nothing more rewarding than helping others, than serving others. I honestly, like, that is our purpose. Like, that is our purpose. That's what we actually called to do, and we give something which is joy, So I think anyone who ain't serving, you there's a void in you. There's a void in you that you trying to fulfill in pleasing yourself, and that you ain't gonna fulfill that until you start to serve others, to help someone else. So the value of serving is like no other. You know, you can't, I don't think you could be a Christian. I don't, that's just, if we, I mean, Christ is our greatest example. And when we look at him, you know, the mind of Christ is to think on the needs of others than yourself. So if we say we are Christians and we have a mind of Christ, then we're supposed to be selfless rather than selfish, you know. So I feel serving not only help someone else, a brother or sister, but serving always also help yourself. So that's a great part in our walk with God, is to serve. Okay.
So how do you encourage somebody who is just sitting on their gift and maybe just tired in ministry? How do you encourage them?
I like to encourage, I mean, hold on. If I can encourage anybody who's sitting on their gift, or discouraged, if I can encourage you, I'll first of all, I'll ask you, who you doing it for? Who you doing it for? You know, who you doing it for? And every time you feel discouraged, you gotta look up to Jesus. You know, you gotta look at him. You know what I mean? You gotta look at him. He's the example. You know, me personally, I find my resting place, I find my motivation in the Word of God. I find my motivation in prayer. I find it in him. So whenever I'm discouraged and I look at him, I have to continue going, because I ain't living. It's no more. We gotta realize that this walk is no longer us. Bible says that it's no longer I that live, but Christ that lives in me. So, and it says that Christ I live and that Christ I die. So everything what I do for God. I do for him. I do to please him. Pleasing him is my greatest desire. So I can't, every time I look at him, I look at people, I see people. So you can't separate the two. You can't separate the two, you know. As I give myself to him, he sent me to people. I say, Lord, I ask him something for me, I don't get no response. When I ask him, Lord, what you want me to do for so and so? What you want me to do for individual? Quick response. What could I say? You know, I gotta do what pleases him and not me. You know, it's no longer, like I say, it's no longer me that live, but Christ that lives in me. So my passion is to please him. Where do I see the future of our ministry? That's a good question. I'm a man of faith, so I always see beyond what my eyes could see. So I see God raising up a generation. I see him raising up some young people, you know, moving this ministry forward. I see it. I see God doing a new thing in Jubilee. You know, I see God pushing this ministry forward. You know, sometimes we'll say, what happened if it is no what happened? Everything is in God's hands. You know, so I believe that God is going to rise up some young people at the right time. You know, so I'll encourage those that the older ones to keep pushing. You know, keep pushing, because there are a lot of people looking up to the older ones. A lot of younger people are looking. A lot of the youths are looking up to the older people. You know, and what you sow into the, I believe that whatever you sow into the generation, you're gonna get back in return. So my encouragement to the older ones is you gotta plant seeds into the young, to the youths now. Plant seeds into the youths now, that your labor in vain, your labor wouldn't go in vain, because you would see the fruit of it. You know, you would see the fruit of it. A lot of times we be selfish and we be like, we'll just talk about a thing, but if we could take part rather than just talk about, you know, I believe that goes a long way. You know, it's what you doing to help the ministry grow. You know, I always just ask people, what you doing? You know, we always like to say, who ain't doing this, one ain't doing that, but what you doing? You know, that's for anyone. You know, I just want to challenge, you know what I mean? Challenge the old, young, wherever you are, to do your part.